Now, my short ribs, for me, these sing so sweetly when imbued with Asian flavours. Now, Asia is a large continent and there are rich pickings, and I take full advantage of that because I have a compulsion for buying ingredients from this part of the world, partly because they can look so beautiful. I mean, I love her. But also because I rely on them to provide such bold flavour. Now, I'm going to start now. I could stay here, but I won't. This, my Chinese rice wine. We're all used to cooking with wine, in other words, grape wine, but you use rice wine in cooking and it's like a revelation. The best way I have of describing this, I suppose, would be to say it's like dry sherry mixed with a little bit of brandy. So there's this warmth and depth. And I also want Hoisin. Now, what Hoisin brings is that most fashionable of tastes, umami, in other words, intense savouriness. But here, it's matched with an equally rich sweetness. So everything is balanced. And to complete this, we need just a sprinkling of dried chilies. There is a certain graphic beauty to these flintstone hunks of meat. And yes, they are striated and feathered with fat, but it's this fat that gives so much flavour. And there is also the crucial matter of the bones. There is an old English saying, the closer the bone, the sweeter the meat. So a goodly amount of hoisin. You don't need stock because there's so much flavour from the short ribs. So water, simply water. And some Chinese rice wine. And a little bit of soy, not too much. Not a secret ingredient, but a fantastic one. And now I want fennel, I want cinnamon, I want star anise, I want ginger, and I want cloves. And I do this lazily and easily with some 5-spice powder. Quite a lot. But the glory of long, slow cooking is that flavour's always mellow. You can be bolder. And don't be frightened by the amount of chilli. This gives warmth. It's not going to blow your head off. I want a small amount of sesame oil. I don't need any extra fat, but I do want the toastiness of the sesame oil. Just stir everything together, just so I can get an early preview of this rather feisty fragrance. And a final ingredient. I want 4 fat cloves of garlic. I just grate them straight in. And because of the long time in the oven and the resting afterwards, you don't get any acrid hit from the garlic, just sweet mellowness. And now for the sacred anointing. Brilliantly mixed. This spicy bath that the beef will braise in is scant, but that doesn't matter. I have a plan. I'm making a little covering for it. Slightly lower roof that stops any of this from evaporating and keeps every bit of flavour in. And now, a lazy, long and slow braise in the oven, and deep pleasure awaits. After the beef ribs have had a good 4 hours in a really low oven, let the rich stew cool without its lid or paper covering.
Are you ready?
As soon as the ribs are cool enough to the touch, I put on my CSI gloves and tenderly remove the bone from each chunk. Then, this is crucial, put the stew in the fridge for at least a day so that the flavours deepen and yet mellow at the same time. When you're ready to serve, lift out the now hard layer of fat that will have risen to the top. Again, I glove up for this, and it's a job I adore doing. And all that's left to do now is reheat the aromatic stew in an oven for about an hour, making sure it's piping hot before serving. And now, the wonderful thing about my short ribs is that because they're cooked so gently and for such a long time, is that they are meltingly soft, but they still hold their shape. I think they need nothing more than a little sprinkle, some coriander. Its earthiness is the perfect partner here. And a few pinpricks of sweet heat with some chilli. And frankly, you know, I have been uncharacteristically patient. Took a long time to cook. My patience limit is reached, so I'm gonna treat myself to a bit now. What I like is a spritz of sharp lime on all that rich sweetness. My Hoisin braised pork belly in soft buns is a glorious and greedy DIY lunch for family and friends. The secret is in the prep. So the night before, I brine the pork belly in cold water, sugar and salt. I use a plastic bag as a receptacle for the marinade, and then I seal it up and pop it in the fridge for at least 8 hours and up to 24. So, all very easy. Being something of a pyrophile, I do like a dollop of fiery sauce in a pork bun, and my garlic, chilli and ginger sauce begins with 5 red chili peppers. They go in, seeds and all. I told you I liked it fiery. About a 10-centimetre length of ginger, peeled and cut up into chunks for more warmth. A couple of garlic cloves intensify the heat. And then seasoning, a teaspoon of fine sea salt, and then 2 of sugar to balance the heat. Some sunflower oil, the zing of the juice of a lime, and whiz to a puree. That's all there is to it. Then leave in the fridge overnight, taking it out to get to room temperature before serving. I'd only ever roasted pork belly, but there is another way. When you softly braise the brine-plumped meat, it is all succulence, every little bit of it. I braise the pork in a mixture of water and hoisin. Very low effort. But before I braise, I'm going to daub each slab with a bit of the liquid. And blitz it in a hot oven to help it on its way. It needs only 30 minutes in a very hot oven for the top to turn beautifully bronze. It's the thing of beauty, such an uplifting sight. I'm going to pour over the remains of the braising liquid, carefully missing the top. You know, the thing about the pork buns, like all sandwiches, it's all about the build. So into each soft bun, I pack a quivering slice of soft braised pork belly, a fiery daub of chili sauce, perhaps some extra hoisin, and of course some cooling cucumber and a tangle of spring onion. But the important thing for me are some sweet, crisp fried shallots. I have asbestos hands. It would be more sensible to wear gloves. So this is tightly sealed and ready to be sweetly braised while I can get on with frying the shallots. That goes in low and slow for another 2 hours. I use banana shallots, which are much easier to deal with than the little round ones. I slice them thinly and fry them quickly in hot vegetable oil. Once they're crisp and golden, I leave them to cool on a piece of kitchen towel. Gorgeous. Now, tempting though it is to start eating this immediately in its freshly burnished state, I find it makes my life easier to let it get cool and then slice it cold. Much easier for me to do since I'm a bad carver. And then I can warm it up in these lovely juices when the hungry hordes arrive. My pork bun feast is everything I like about having people over to eat. It's very laid back and relaxed, a lot of food, but more importantly, a lot of DIY at the table. That's to say, condiments and picky things, so everyone can eat how they want and what they want. The important thing is everyone has a good time, me included. Okay, I'm going to park some here, and there's some spoons. I'm going to assemble mine. You can do yours differently. Yours, look how selfless you are.
They're doing it the boy way. Then I'm doing coriander.
And then I'm ending on shallots. Oh, you see this is...
Yeah, it's the garnish. Thank you so much.
Careful with the chilli.
Oh, I'm a bit of a chilli head.
I'm going in for a bite.
Absolutely delicious.
I've been alive a long time, and when it comes to eating, I've spent that time wisely and well. So it's not often I come across something that tastes so different to anything I've eaten before. This is a stir fry, comforting and familiar, warm with ginger and hot with garlic. When I first ate this, it was cooked by a chef called Tum, spelt, or rather transliterated, T-U-M, very gratifying. And he used Chinese celery, which is really mostly thin stalk and a lot of leaf. So what I do is I use what I think of as the shoots from a leafy stick of celery, which I chop, none too fastidiously, you'd be shocked to hear. And what the celery gives is an anise flavour, but with herbal freshness. Now comes the same, but bringing base, star anise. And as if to amplify the star anise, some cinnamon, crumbled in shards. I'm making a base for the prawns to cook in. So on top of those spices, some dark soy sauce, steady with this. And on top of that, some light soy sauce, or thin, this is called, this Thai version, with a fantastically fat child on it. A small dollop of oyster sauce for richness. And don't faint, some ready ground pepper. I never thought I'd see the day when I use school pepper in my cooking, but this really works. Now some water. Chicken stock concentrate. I never feel bad about using stock that isn't homemade. Chef Tum used chicken powder, and that's the nearest thing I can get to it. And then some ketchup mayonnaise, which is like sweet soy ketchup. And into this bubbling brown liquid go the prawns. Wouldn't we all like to pop out to the local market to pick up some fresh plump prawns and then stroll back down the beach? A large sun hat for me. But if I didn't think these frozen prawns worked here, I certainly wouldn't be cooking with them. Some of the sweetness of the prawns goes into this brown liquor, and those deep spices cling to the prawns. And in go some glass noodles, cooked and drained. And stand back while I toss this together. I've always thought of Thai cooking as sprightly and sharp, but there's something about the darkness and depth of this which is exciting. And now a startling punch of ground cloves and a pinch of ground cinnamon. Now, obviously none of these ingredients is new, but it's how they're used in a particular way that makes them taste so different, and that is the essence of what cooking is. This is Thai seafood as you've never tasted it. Tawny tangle of noodles. And these golden prawns. I rather love the shards of cinnamon going through it. Obviously, they're not to be eaten. Final touch. The leaves from the shoots of celery. A friend of mine's father said, if it goes in it, it's got to go on it. I said at the beginning that a stir fry was comforting and familiar, but what this is comforting and unfamiliar. So I start off with Thai red curry paste, and I like a certain amount of fierceness here. So let's plonk that in. And I wanted the delicate sweetness of coconut water rather than the rich creaminess of coconut milk. Before I put the heat on, I want to help the curry paste dissolve into the coconut water. Slightly foolhardy to be doing this with the white shirt, but too late now. And I want the brightness of some lime juice. Sharpen everything up. It's all so reassuringly simple. All I need now is to wait for it to come to a bubble. Right, bubbling. I've soaked the clams in cold water and discarded the ones that stayed open. And actually, the most important flavour in the broth is that umami sweetness that comes from the clam liquor. These take hardly any time to cook. I feel like I'm performing some sort of magic. But in a way, there is magic, but it comes from the clams, because as they cook, they open, and their liquor seeps into the broth. The minute I smell Thai basil, I'm back on a holiday. I just adore its aniseed muskiness. But it can be hard to get, and when I can't get Thai basil, I am so happy with fresh coriander in this. I don't need an implement to eat the clams, hands, mouth, but I might sip the broth serenely with this. That's what I wanted to see. Oh, I love the clatter of clams. Oh, just picking through because any that stay closed get discarded. That's a big heap of gorgeousness there. And after that noise, joyous though it was, the calmness of ladling out. I find unchallenging, repetitive activity like this just very calming. When I do get hold of Thai basil, I am profligate with it. That's how life should be lived, greedily and gratefully. Oh, I have to have a bit now. That's one bowl full of bliss I have here.